It's hard to get to this table now.
Yeah,
it is.
Man, right here.
It is. Yeah. They're the new contractor. Let's talk to them.
All right. You can see my bid proposal. These are the set I bid off.
That's a good tip.
Good tip.
Yeah.
What's going on out there, guys? Chris Work here from ProfitDig. Got two of my favorite people in the world. I've got my brother-in-law, Jeff Spencer, my partner in ProfitDig. Got my brother, Jerry Work.
Hello, hello.
In ProfitDig, also known as producer Jerry. He's typically behind the camera. But this evening, he's had the pleasure of sitting at the table.
That's right.
So it's quite an honor sitting at the table.
Right beard.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, you know, it's fun. When we show up, there's usually a couple of guys waiting for me just outside the bush, outside the front door here, and I have to wrestle them down because they're like, I'm sitting at the ProfitDig table, and I said, not tonight, son, not tonight. And so,
It's hard to get to this table now.
Yeah.
it is.
Man, right here.
It is. Yeah. Well, awesome. I'm so glad you guys are here. Glad to see everyone. And we're going to kind of continue this theme this evening. We've made a little content, kind of talking about the new contractors. You know, the guys in the business getting started. Obviously, it all starts with a construction bid proposal.
Yes.
That's everything. So you win a job, and then you hope you got this part right. So,
So I guess I would say what our purpose of this video, if you watch it to the end, is that you will learn more about how to win bids. Win jobs.
Yeah.
that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
And also, you know, how to win jobs, but more than that is to how to protect yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want to win every job.
No, it's not about, you know, not so much about, you know, winning every job, but it's also about in that proposal, you know, I mean, you got to protect yourself per job, you know.
I got you. I got
Yeah.
you. Okay, yeah. You're a lot further along than I
He's
am.
already
So, yeah. Well, all right, Jeff. Okay, hey, I'm the new contractor. Talk to me. Actually, they're the new contractor. Let's talk to them.
All right.
What are some tips, man?
Well, first, you know, it's being able to, well, I mean, there's a lot goes into it, you know, as far as a new project, but you want to know your site. You want to know the geographical location, you know, as far as getting materials in, getting materials out, you know, and how to put your costs together to figure out, you know, what's going to be the most feasible way. You know, bidding a project is strategic. You know, it's like, you know, it's almost like a chess move or, you know, some kind of strategic idea. Like if we're all three bidding against one another, you know, the winner is going to be, because our costs are going to be very similar. Materials are going to cost us the same. Equipment's going to cost us roughly the same, depending on whether you rent or versus buy. And, you know, your labor rates, you know, going to be close to the same. Labor, materials, everything's going to be somewhat in line.
Sure.
So the strategy is what it comes down to. You know, it's like who's going to be able to get the job in the fastest and most efficient.
Okay.
But there again, you know, it's not, some jobs are not going to be a very fast-paced job. You know, they're going to be difficult. You know, there's going to be holdups and, you know, depend on geographical location. You know, downtown versus, you know, out in a rural area. Rock versus dirt. You know, I mean, there's a lot of things to think about, you know, as far as knowing that proposal and that project. And another thing is knowing what to include and what to exclude. That's where you start to protect yourself.
Okay. So what am I including?
Well, you know, like just we talked about rock. You know, if you're not set up to do blasting or, you know, hammer rock, you know, do any kind of rock excavation, you want to exclude rock.
Okay.
And that way, when it comes down to it, you know, if you do hit rock, you can get a change order. And at that point, you can include your rental rate or a sub to blast or whatever it may be. You can get those things included. You know, like if you figure rock up front, you don't have bore reports, don't know exactly how much rock you got. You know, a lot of times you have no choice but to figure the whole job to be rock if you don't know exactly what's there, and that could cost you the job. Where your other guy over here, you know, he may know the area, and he's like, you know, there's only, you know, roughly 25% rock in this area, so I'm going to be at 25% rock. Well, I'm bidding 100% rock. Well, I'm out of the game already.
But better to do that if you don't know what the situation
Right, exclude. If you don't know, exclude it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, that way, you know, you're going to be a little bit cheaper than the other guy, and then if whoever you're bidding to, they should look at your exclusion list on your proposal And so they're going to know up front, Jeff over here, you don't have rock excavation. So if we hit rock, we're going to have to work out a change order.
Yeah.
But having said that, it's like, know your scope of work. Know what you're bidding, what they're requiring, and what the specs are, and give a detailed scope of work. Even if you're giving unit prices, you still need to attach a scope of work letter.
Okay.
Saying, like, this is what I'm going to do for this bid item. This is how I'm going to perform this bid item. These are the things I have included in this bid item. And there again, we have a detailed exclusions. Like if you don't want to fool with permits and getting all your permits, your fees, and assessments, and all that done, exclude those. I exclude those on every bid because they're aggravating. If I'm going to do them, then I won't get paid extra to do them.
Yeah.
Exclude rock excavation. Exclude, whatever it may be. Like it could be other trades. Like you don't want to have anything to do with other trades, so you don't want them to depend on you
Yeah.
to help. So exclude, any kind of relations with other trades, whatever it may be, so that you don't have to go to coordinate with them,
Right.
to get your scope of work in. And that's another thing too. It's like you got to look at the area you're working in. We talked about that earlier. Like if you are like in a site, a big hotel or something, and there's going to be multiple contractors in there working around you. Well, your production is going to tank.
Right.
It's going to be very little you can accomplish in a day's time, and you got to know it up front in preparing your bid proposal. And you may want to include, put notes. I have a note section on my bid proposal. Sometimes it may have one note on there. Sometimes it may have 15 or 20 notes. And these are, sometimes you give alternate pricing. Like, here's my base bid, but, hey, if we can get this done, like if you can get it sectioned off to where I can have X amount of room to work, then you can deduct this amount of money.
Okay.
Or if we can use this material versus this material, you can deduct this amount of money.
Okay.
These are the materials I bid on using. If anything else other than what I bid on is required, then it would come at additional cost, or additional fees.
Sure.
Put a time limit on your bid proposal, always. I do mine 30 days. Look at your material quotes. If your material quotes are only good for 15 days, do your bid proposal 15 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yes,
Yep.
you can't guarantee that you can get those materials in 30 days for the same price if your material supplier is only going to do them good for 15 days.
Yeah. That's,
So
yeah.
you've got to
That's
make
all you
yours,
have to work with. Yeah.
So you've got to make yours match theirs. More than likely, your material suppliers, if you get a job, if it's a decent amount of materials, they're going to honor their price 45 days later.
Yeah.
But you can't guarantee that.
You can't guarantee that.
No.
Yeah.
So you got to protect yourself.
Yeah.
But those are the things, you got a body, you got a letter, a scope letter that you're want to be as detailed as you possibly can be. When you start getting phone calls back, well, what about this or that? And you hang up a few minutes later, well, what about this or that? You want to try to avoid those phone calls or emails. You want to have it detailed as much as possible
Yeah.
to where they're not calling you every few minutes because you didn't quite give them everything they're looking for.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is taking up your time
Yeah.
from putting other bids together.
The better flow you have to your proposal letter, and the more stuff you have qualified, and the more stuff that you show excluded, to where there's no questions, then the more likely you're gonna get repeat bid requests
Okay.
or RFP.
That was the point I wanted to make, is like by providing such detail, it's like even if you were the highest bidder, but there weren't a huge gap between number one and number two, I'm like, this guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
He's been to the site.
Yes.
He's he knows what his overhead is and how to run his business. So I trust that he's going to show up and get it done.
Yeah. And always on your bid proposal too, you always want to list any addendums that you have received and looked at. There may be a couple out there you haven't seen, but if they see, hey, I've seen addendum 1 and 2, that's what my pricing is based on, they're like, hey, I need to get him more information because he's missing 3 and 4. So they're going to get it to you as quick as possible so you can update your pricing. Another thing is like whatever set of drawings that you've done your takeoff on, you always want to list the architect or engineer that has designed those drawings. You want to list the page numbers that your quote is coming off of, and you also want to list the date stamped on those drawings. That way, if there's a new set of drawings out there or a newer set of drawings, you can say, well, I did not have those provided. You can see my bid proposal. These are the set I bid off.
That's a good tip.
Good tip.
Yeah.
There's your protection. Right
Yep.
there. Yeah.
So it's, there's a lot of things, a lot of ways to design a bid proposal, but you want it to be very fluent, as far as start to finish.
No, well, hey man, Jeff, I really appreciate your insight as always.
Yeah,
So
man.
that's good stuff, and I hope our viewers have learned something.
Well, I just so y'all know, I just messed up the end of the original video. So we're
Really?
yeah.
I swore that was Miller Lite trying to come in, and I was like, no, you haven't even called me.
'Cause
I've been asking for a call for years.
Because what I just said is, y'all need to send us. If you're watching this, you need to send us $100.
Yeah.
Just because of that valuable tip that Jeff had just given a minute ago.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like you said, we'll give you a month of ProfitDig. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, B3 launch, you get 50% off your first 3 months. So
That's right.
It's a newly launched just a few months ago. Entirely new platform. It's very cool.
That's it.
Yeah.
The world's easiest to use construction job bidding and costing solution.
Quite simple. You can find more information at ProfitDig.com, or probably just check around our YouTube channel here. And while you're here, subscribe, like the video, leave some comments. We will see you guys soon.
Thank you.
So y'all.
Later.